and welcome to this session of English literature. And today in this session we'll be discussing The Merchant of Venice, that is Act 3, Scene 2. Now, this particular scene is very significant in the context of the play because this scene finally brings the casket plot to its climax as Bassanio succeeds in making the right choice of the casket and thereby wins Portia. And this scene also introduces the subplot, that is the love affair of Gratiano and Nerissa. As Bassanio succeeds in the lottery of casket, Gratiano also takes advantage of the opportunity and he declares his love for Nerissa and seeks Bassanio's and Portia's permission for their marriage. Then a little later in this scene, Lorenzo and Jessica, they arrive with Salerino to announce the loss of Antonio's ships. Thus, the happy atmosphere of Belmont, that is, where the lovers are united, this happy atmosphere is suddenly disrupted by the news of Antonio's ships having got wrecked and he being reduced to bankruptcy. So certainly it was clear that Antonio would not be able to repay his loan within the stipulated period of time since he had lost all his ships out in the sea. So Portia, when she comes to know about the deplorable condition of Antonio, when she comes to know that how Shylock has dragged Antonio to the court and now seeks revenge against Antonio, she decides to help Antonio and she also tells Bassanio to hasten their marriage and immediately leave for Venice with all her wealth so that he could save Antonio's life by paying the Jew even 10 times over what was borrowed from him. So this is what the scene basically concerns with. And when you see this particular scene, it takes place in Belmont, a room in Portia's house where the caskets were kept. So Bassanio enters, Portia, Gratiano, Nerissa and the other attendants of Bassanio enter into this scene. Now here the scene begins with a long speech of Portia, and if you try to understand the scene, you will see that Bassanio, since he had promised his friend Antonio to do away with the business as early as possible in Belmont and then return back to Venice, so therefore Bassanio shows some haste, some speed in making the choice of the casket. He is desperate to try his luck in the lottery of casket and thereby succeed in winning Portia. But at the same time, Portia tries to delay Bassanio in making his choice of casket because she knows that if Bassanio needs to succeed in the lottery of casket, then Bassanio must take his own time to decide. Then only he will be able to make the right choice of the casket. So the whole speech, you will see that Portia tries to delay Bassanio in making the choice of the casket. So in this scene, when you go through the speech of Portia, you will find that Portia is depicted as a romantic heroine. The scene in fact begins with her long speech begging Bassanio to delay in making his choice of casket. Her speech, no doubt, shows her love for Bassanio. But at the same time, the charm of her speech lies in the fact that Portia cannot openly admit or declare her love for Bassanio. So there is a hint that she wishes to teach Bassanio how to choose correctly, but she must stay true to her father's will and she must remain silent. she cannot be violated. So she cannot commit the sin of violating the oath that she had made to her dying father. So therefore, she decides to keep silent and not to teach Bassanio how to make the right choice. So if you see, in the beginning of this speech, Portia says, I pray you, tarry, pause a day or two before you hazard. For in choosing wrong, I lose your company. Therefore, forbear a while. So here, Portia is begging Bassanio to wait. And she in fact tells Bassanio to stay there for a day or two before he hazards. Now this word hazard is very significant. Hazard means to take the risk. So the lottery of the casket is a venture. There is chances that Bassanio may lose in the lottery of casket. He may also win. So therefore Portia is trying to tell Bassanio that Bassanio must wait for a day or two. He must delay for a day or two before he decides to take the risk of making the choice of the casket. Because she is aware that if Bassanio makes a wrong choice of the casket, then Portia may lose the company of Bassanio. She may not get married with Bassanio, and this defeat in the lottery of casket will at once bring an end to their love affair. So therefore, she is asking Bassanio to have patience for some time, to wait for a day or two before he takes the risk of choosing the casket. And why does she say so? She says, there is something tells me, but it is not love. I would not lose you, and you know yourself. Hate counsels not in such a quality. Now you see, now here Portia is giving the reasons. She says that there is something that is urging Portia to speak to Bassanio in this manner. There is something that urges Portia to delay Bassanio for a day or two. But she says it is not love. Whereas as readers, we are very well able to understand that it is the love of Portia which makes Bassanio ask to delay for a day or two. But she is in such a situation that she cannot openly declare her love for Bassanio. She says it is not love that is asking Portia to delay Bassanio for a day or two. And again, Bassanio for himself knows that hatred does not give such an advice. If Portia had hated Bassanio, then Portia would have treated Bassanio in the same way as she has treated the other two suitors. She would have asked Bassanio to end away with the business and to go away from Belmont at once. But that means what? Portia does not hate Bassanio. So if she does not hate, that means she loves. But she cannot openly declare her love. And maybe the way Portia is saying that it is not love and again it is not hatred that gives such an advice, Bassanio may not be able to understand Portia very well. Okay. But she says that if Bassanio is unable to understand Portia well, she says that she is a young girl, and being a young girl, she has no other choice but to think, and her thoughts may not be expressed fully. Perhaps here Portia means to say that her speech should be easily be able to be understood by Bassanio because it is a simple expression of a thought without the complexities which are created by figurative language, by elaborative language. In fact, Portia says that she would have liked to delay Bassanio, to make Bassanio stay in Belmont for a month or two before Bassanio takes the risk of choosing the lottery of casket. Because if she stays Bassanio for a month or two, she will be able to enjoy the company of Bassanio for at least a month or two. And she also expresses a wish that she wishes that if she could teach Bassanio how to make the right casket, how to choose the right casket. But at the same time, she cannot disclose to Bassanio the secret of the casket, because if she does so, that would mean that she is violating the oath that she has made to her father, which she would never like to do. So if she does not tell Bassanio how to choose the right casket, then there is a chance that Bassanio may lose in the lottery of casket. And if he loses in the lottery of casket, he would miss Portia. And if that happens, then Portia would wish for a sin that it would have been better had she been violated, had she committed the sin of breaking her promises. At the same time, she tells Bassanio. Bassanio was looking at Portia, spellbound. He was unable to understand that what makes Portia speak so long, and he was looking at Portia spellbound. And this is what makes Portia say these lines. She says, "Beshew your eyes." Okay, beshew means to invoke something bad on a person. Shame on your eyes. Why? Because the way Bassanio was looking at Portia, it had cast a spell upon Portia. Portia was in a spell by the look of Bassanio. And in fact, the look of Bassanio had divided Portia into different parts. She says, half of her is Bassanio's. The other half, which belongs to her own, she says that would also belong to Bassanio. And in this way, her whole self belongs to Bassanio. So this is a romantic notion that since Portia loves Bassanio, so therefore her entire self belongs to Bassanio, and she considers Bassanio to be her lord. And she says that, oh, these naughty times, this is so bad and wicked times, because it puts obstacles, barriers between the honor and his possessions. If Portia belongs to Bassanio, then Portia is a possession of Bassanio, but Bassanio is unable to claim his right upon Portia. So she curses the time, that because that time puts barriers between the honor and his belongings. So therefore, although Portia is Bassanio's, but still she is not his until and unless Bassanio wins in the lottery of casket. And then finally she tells Bassanio why she has spoken so long. She says, I speak too long, but it is to peace the time, to ache it. So she has spoken so long in order to measure out the time, in order to prolong the time, in order to add more to the time, so that she could make Bassanio stay away from the choice of the casket and thereby enjoy Bassanio's company in Belmont. Rest of the things we'll discuss in the next video.